And so I was just excitedly like describing my graph, and that was cool and everything. And then ChatGPT asked me like, how do you like choose how to color code things? And so I was describing that using the actual example of what happened. And like as I was describing it, like it's one thing to note it as it's happening and then be like, oh, like that was like a trauma um consequence, like the consequence of violation for my psyche because I'm not recovered from what happened to me is that I will kind of go into these like zombie modes. And like it's not a big deal. Like it's not, if anybody were to see watch from the side, they wouldn't even know. They would just be like, she's just watching a show. And it's like, yeah, but the motivation behind what's happening internally in my like inner invisible like psyche world where like all that trauma stuff is timeless and it just sits there and it's always happening until it's resolved, which is so creepy to think about. Like until it's resolved, it's not resolved, so it's happening. Like in the internal world of the psyche, something that happened that isn't resolved, that was a violation of your psychology, of your soul, is still happening. That's why people who are traumatized seem to be like stuck in the past. It's like they're not stuck in the past because time, as you guys keep fucking hearing, it does not exist. And like when people say time doesn't exist, they're saying that time is not an actual independent thing. There's no flow of time. What's happening is processes. Like it's always the now moment in the sense that there's no fucking like it's like a fucking like illusion of perception that something was in the past or that something is in the future or that something is in the present. I'm like, it's just processes. So if a process was like happened in the past and it's a violation, what changed is the person's state of psychology and soul. And that's what the trauma is. It's like they're not having a trauma response. They're just behaving the way that they are right now because the violation that happened at an earlier point in their existence changed them to not be all right. They're not functional, they're dysfunctional. They are like diseased with the energy of the violation, and they need to have that energy of the violation removed from their soul and their psyche so that they're healthy, so that it's no longer happening. That's what's happening. They're not in the past, they're in the present because they're changed by what happened at an earlier point in their existence to be carrying this like deformation or this mutation because the violence violated them. No one fucking talks about it like this, and it's a super intuitive thing to read, like to describe when you actually like can see it. And my graph allowed me to like notice that it's not behavior. Notice that happening